Hello everyone, my name is Spencer Gadori and welcome back to Spencer's Music Corner. If you're new here, I just started this YouTube channel and the main focus is going to be talking about music, playing some music, amongst a few other things I have planned in the future. Just a little channel for me to endlessly blurt out what I'm passionate about, and if you're watching this, thank you very much. We're on part 3 today of my going through my entire discography of CDs that I own, which is not the extent of the music I listen to, just the stuff that I bought back when I was collecting a lot. So we are on, part 3. I believe we were on R, we finished with Radiohead. I actually forgot something in the P's, so I'm gonna go back, show you guys this, and we'll continue on with the R's. So the first thing we have here that I forgot for some reason last time was Pearl Jam's 10, their debut record. Not much to say other than this is a fantastic album, quintessential 90s, so, like, I think Black is my favorite Pearl Jam song of all time, just incredible. That or Better Man, but no, we got Black on here. You got Even Flow, Alive, Jeremy, Once, all these classics, right? Quintessential 90s, fantastic. Eddie Vedder gets a lot of flack. His voice, I think he has a tremendous voice. And amazing songwriting all the way through, and just a great rock record, alternative rock record, a lot of emotion to it, fantastic all the way through. So continuing back on with R, where we were last time, this actually, so I said with the Police Greatest Hits last time, I think it's the last Greatest Hits compilation that I own. Actually, I think this is the last one, this one here, and this would be the Red Hot Chili Peppers Greatest Hits. They have so many great songs spread out throughout so many great albums. And instead of, when I bought this, I figured instead of collecting, all their records that I don't have, I might as well grab this. It's a pretty good, I wouldn't rate it as an album. It's a great compilation of their greatest hits. There's a couple on here that I really wish were on here, though. It's kind of disappointing. You have all their classics, Under the Bridge, Give It Away, Californication, Scar Tissue, Other Side, Suck My Kiss, all this stuff, Parallel Universe. You would have their great cover of Higher Ground by Stevie Wonder on here. But I really wish some songs were on here, like Can't Stop, Stadium Arcadium, Danny, California. There's a lot to be desired on this record. They could have made it a double album, greatest hits album. But, as for the Chili Peppers go, incredible, incredible band. Love them so much. I need to see them live one day. Flea is just a master, of course. All their music is so groovy, catchy, funky. They have a distinguishable sound when you listen to it. It's the Chili Peppers, right? Everyone knows. As soon as you hear, Flea or a little guitar lick or Anthony's singing, it's the Chili Peppers, right? I can't talk about it like it's an album of theirs. It's a pretty decent greatest hits with a lot of their hits. I wish there were a lot more of them on here, though. So now we have one of my all-time favorite bands of all time. Like, means so much to me. One of the first bands I got into. I think I talked about Counting Crows in my first video and how much they mean to me. This is a very similar band. And that band would be REM, and here I have their record, Out of Time. It's iconic, right? It's one of the quintessential, like I said about Pearl Jam, it's one of these 90s records that was so big, with so many hits on it, and just an incredible listen all the way through. There's some weird moments on it, actually, but for the most part, it's everything about it is phenomenal. And also, apologies, I do have, I feel like I'm getting a bit of a cold, so if I sound a little off or have to clear my throat, that's why. My apologies for that. But no, like, so many iconic songs. I think the big boy on this album that everyone knows is Losing My Religion, which was probably their biggest song of all time. Just one of the biggest hits of all time, one of the biggest singles of all time. Iconic, right? You have so much on here that is incredible. Low is incredible. Belong, Half World Away, Texarkana, Me and Honey, incredible. I always found it curious why they would begin the record with Radio Song. I really enjoy that song, but I feel like if there's one thing I could change, I'd put that song last on the album. But aside from that, it's fantastic album all the way through. great listen. Michael Stipe is a true poet. His voice is incredible. His writing's incredible. And when I do some discographies ranked of bands that I'm into, which I'm going to do in the future, I'm really, really excited to talk about REM, and I'll dive deeper into the lyrics, the meanings of the songs, what this band really means to me. But really strong record that I have flip-flopped between being my favorite with like 5 others probably for the longest time, you know. Great 90s album. It's a must listen, a must own for a music fan, I think. Then we have another iconic REM album, Automatic for the People, just incredible, right? I'm going to be saying the same thing about most of these. Every song on this one, I think this is a perfect 10 out of 10, you know? I don't think there's a bad song on here. I think every song is so rich and meaningful. Every song has so much to it. All 12 tracks, fantastic record. More dark and moody than Out of Time, which I believe is their previous one to this. I love this album. I could listen to this album a million times, never get tired of it. You know, just opening with Drive and Try Not to Breathe is like, oh my god, incredible. You know, of course it has Everybody Hurts on it, which everybody knows. Just an amazing, beautiful masterwork of songwriting. Also, I think closing with Night Swimming and Find the River, those are 2 of the best closing tracks, I think, on any album of all time. Like, that is how you end. You go through the first 10 songs, you have all these huge hits, deep songs, you know. To end with those is amazing, you know. I can't give this anything but a 10 out of 10. Phenomenal record all the way through. I feel like it's better if you listen to it from start to finish. You could take any of these songs off here and they'd be great, but it's one of those albums that you have to let kind of resonate and I think listen from beginning to end. Then we have Monster. Love this album. Very different sound than the previous 2 I talked about. This is just a rock record, you know, through and through. Alternative rock, but rock. There's a lot of songs that really rock hard for REM. I feel like at the time this came out, it was different for them to come out with that kind of sound, right? Just opening with What's the Frequency, Kenneth, phenomenal track. Crush with Eyeliner, King of Comedy, you know, all these songs, like Star 69. But then you have more of a Automatic for the People kind of vibe with songs like I Don't Sleep Dreams, Strange Currencies, oh my god, Flawless, Tongue. I love Bang and Blame. Everything, every track really is fantastic. And you know, Michael Stipe, of course, amazing. Peter Buck, like everyone in this band is amazing. And this is a phenomenal record as well. Love it. Some of the best hype up songs ever, like What's the Frequency, Kenneth. The guitar sound throughout this album is so wicked. When I got my electric guitar, my amp for the first time, I was playing a lot of these because they're very distorted and they kind of, it's that sound, that rough kind of overdrive of guitar, and it's amazing. It sounds amazing. Yeah, great record. Then we have a different one for them as well in Reveal, which is amazing. I feel like a lot of people have mixed feelings about this one. It's actually one of my favorite REM records, and I'm really excited to talk about their whole discography in another video and showcase them because it's amazing. I mean, I feel like it gets underlooked a lot. It's one of those underrated albums. Came out in 2001. It's right into their 2000 stuff. But they still sound great. I mean, just opening these first 3 tracks, I remember listening to this for the first time and thinking, this is different, you know? This is a different sound for them, because there is a few songs on here that, maybe one song actually, that got pretty big, and that's Imitation of a Life, which is an incredible song. But these first 3, The Lifting, I've Been High, and All the Way to Reno, amazing sound. Kind of sounds like Beck a little bit, somewhat like All the Way to Reno, but incredible album. I love it so much. I'm really excited to talk about it more in depth. But the sounds, the production, the melodies, the lyrics, the vocals, like the way it all blends together to make this album is fantastic. And pretty much perfect all the way through, right? It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe, you know? I keep saying I don't have a lot of greatest hits albums. I realize I at least have 2 more. Okay, I have a lot. Which for the record, I don't like owning these greatest hits albums as much as, you know, if I had unlimited money, I'd own every album from every band that I love, right? It's kind of like I collect Blu-rays too, which I'll do a video on my current collection. It's downsized quite a bit. But it's like buying a Blu-ray with like 10 movies on it. It's not the same as having that one film with look at it, right? So same thing. But here I have REM's Greatest Hits, which was released a few years ago. It's called Part Lies, Part Heart, Part Truth, Part Garbage, which I always forget the full name to that. Really cool album artwork, going from the 45, you know, to you got the record in the middle, a little Wi-Fi symbol, all the different forms that this could be enjoyed on over the years, all the music. But this is a double album, and it's a hell of an album. I think it doesn't have every single song that I love from them, because obviously I like all the deep cuts and whatnot, but it pretty much sums up REM. If you were to play these 2 CDs for someone who's never heard the band before, it does a great job. You know, I can't talk about every song here because it really spans their whole career. It's a really interesting record how the first CD goes from their first album, and it has greatest hits all the way up until Automatic for the People in the 90s, early 90s. The first track is 80s. The second CD is 90s to 2000s to current day, and it's great. You know, I listen to this one a lot. I often just like can't decide which CD to put in because they both have amazing songs from both, like every single era. It's all their eras put into this great album. There's some songs that I wish were on there, but for the most part, it's not like the Chili Peppers. They pretty much nail it. It's great. Then we have another greatest hits compilation, and that's Honk by the Rolling Stones. The Stones, they have so many albums that it would be impossible for me, with the small budget I have now at this point in my life, to go out and buy every single record. But I love the Rolling Stones, right? Like, who doesn't love the Stones? Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, you know, just incredible band. I wish I could see them live. I might miss it. If it's not soon, I don't know when these guys plan to retire, but they've been rocking since the 60s. You know, why stop now, right? This is a great one. It has 20 songs on it, and some of them I feel like could have been swapped out. Of course, you have their, like, really the big immediate hits are all on here. You know, Start Me Up, Brown Sugar, Miss You, Tumbling Dice, Angie, Beast of Burden, It's Only Rock and Roll. I could go on. There's a lot here, but there's also a lot in the second half that I feel like they could have just done all their older hits, like, you know. Does it have I Don't Get No Satisfaction on it? I don't think it does, that is really, really weird. Sorry, I can't get no satisfaction, not I don't. But no, it doesn't. So there's a lot. It's like the Chili Peppers one, but this one's more kind of where's that song? So it's a good listen. I wouldn't use it, like I said, with the REM one to introduce someone to the band. Like, I feel like that'd be perfect. This is more kind of for a seasoned Stones fan, which I've listened to pretty much all their records, for good or for worse. Most of them are great. But yeah, it's an okay greatest hits album. It's not great. A lot of songs that are not on here that I wish I owned, but for the most part, you know, pretty good. I love the Stones, and I'll try to do a discography ranking for them at some point. They have a lot of records. This, and actually, good transition to this band. This is going to be a really hard one that I'm going to attempt to do a albums ranked to. This is one of I think this was probably the first band when I was a little kid that I got seriously into. Like, this is kind of where this and another band I'll talk about soon were the first 2 bands that really propelled my music fandom, right? Where I took it so seriously, and I was obsessed, and I would read everything I could about these guys. I would, like, watch all the concert videos. My dad introduced me to them. He grew up a huge fan, and that is the band Rush. And here I have Fly By Night by Rush. Rush is just incredible. I'll talk more about them in my video about them when I rank all 20 of their studio albums. But yeah, they're just insane. The Neil Peart, rest in peace. In my opinion, greatest drummer to ever walk the earth. No debate. I mean, you could throw a few drummers in there, but in my opinion, right? Geddy Lee on the bass, vocals, keyboard. Are you kidding me? And Alex Lifeson, one of the guitar gods himself, shredding. Just a phenomenal band. You know, I saw them live 4 times, and they knocked it out of the park every single time. I actually met Geddy Lee, but I'll talk more about that in the video where I talk about Rush. But this album's great. It's in that era. It was their second studio album, so it has a lot of it was Neil Peart's first record with the band. He started writing a lot of like big concepts, right? Their first album was more blues rock, kind of, I want to say, maybe kind of old, like Led Zeppelin 1 maybe, but this is where they really became Rush, right? I mean, just opening with Anthem and Best I Can, Beneath, Between, Behind, great. Then you have, you know, songs like By Tor and the Snow Dog, which previewed their leading up to 2112, right? These huge concepts. Fly By Night's great. You know, there's Making Memories. There's some slower songs like Rivendell. Like Geddy Lee said, they weren't concerned with what they were doing, what the record companies wanted them to do, because they were smoking good pot and they were doing whatever the hell they wanted. So, I mean, this is a great record, and has like the instrumentation, the melodies are just phenomenal. Not my favorite Rush record, but I'll talk a lot more about Rush. Speaking of, I got a few to go through here. So we got 2112, which is a lot of Rush fans' favorite. The first half of this record, side A, is one song, 2112. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's wicked. It's incredible, right? All these different parts to it. So I'm not a huge prog rock fan, but when it comes to Rush, there's just something about it, because it's not exactly, like, it's proggy, but it's not like proggy, if that makes sense. There's no like weird like flutes or keyboard, like it's not like Genesis or Yes or even Styx, right? This is rock prog, like if you want to call it that. It's rock. Even if you have a 20-minute song, there's all these different parts to it. Alex Lifeson is shredding. Neil Peart on the drums is just, you know, giving it his all. Geddy on the bass and the keys and the lyrics and the melodies are just, it's classic rock put into a different format, and that's why I love it. I'll talk more about 2112 when I talk about the record, but in detail, but also the second half is fantastic, right? Passage to Bangkok, The Twilight Zone, Lessons, oh my god, the solo and Lessons. The solos all over it are great. This was Rush when they really discovered their true identity, and it's a classic record. It's just classic, right? Okay, then we got Permanent Waves by Rush. Amazing album. I think, yeah, these next 3, it's gonna be hard ranking. Just as I'm looking at them, it's gonna be really hard to rank them later, but we have, yeah, Permanent Waves is one of their best. Some of their biggest songs are on, like The Spirit of Radio, one of their biggest songs to date. Live, it is incredible. You know, Free Will, Jacob's Ladder is awesome. Entre Nous, Different Strings, Natural Science. Like, it's a short album, 6 songs, right? Like, a lot of their, especially, actually, most of their records up until maybe the late 80s or early 90s were really short like this, but they had these long, epic songs on them. And it's an incredible album. The one before they got huge was this one, right? They were popular. They're a Canadian band, pretty popular in Canada until their next one. And this is a fantastic record. If I'm going through them fast, it's because I don't have much else to say other than they're great, right? It's why I own them. Moving Pictures. So this is their magnum opus. Not like, I'm not saying for me, but I'm saying just in general. Like, this is their, you know, and this is a perfect album. I think every single song is a 10 out of 10. There's only 7 songs on it, but it's amazing. It's incredible. I think everyone knows the song Tom Sawyer, which is their biggest song ever, and that's what they open with. And you have songs like YYZ, which are just instrumental. Like, the whole song's instrumental, but it's just built on these melodies, and it rocks so hard. and the lyrics throughout are incredible. It's a classic rock, like it's a 10 out of 10, classic rock, must own. I actually own this on vinyl too. It's just amazing. Like, every music fan should hear this album. Not just rock fans, I mean everyone who listens to music, who has ears, I think should hear this album. The first concert I went to when I was 9 years old, my dad took me to see Rush, and it was called the Time Machine Tour. And what they did is they played the second half of the show, they played this whole album all the way through, and it was insane. Then we have another 10 out of 10. Signals, the follow-up to Moving Pictures, just incredible too. Absolutely phenomenal album. Opening with Subdivisions, The Analog Kid. Oh my god, like, Subdivisions is one of the best lyrical songs, I think, of all time. Like, Neil Peart, rest in peace. Yeah, I think best drummer of all time, but also one of the best writers and poets ever to pick up a pen and write music. Just an amazing album. Digital Man's amazing. New World Man's amazing. Losing It, oh, it's so dark and haunting and spectacular. Countdown is super interesting. It's so rushed for them to have a song at the end of their record where they got invited to watch a rocket take off and they wrote a song about it. Like, that's just the most rushed thing of all time. Great album, phenomenal. I wish I could see this one played front to back. Nothing but good things to say about this. I mean, every song's great. And the album cover is iconic as hell. Look at that. I don't know if you can see because of the glare, but it's a dog sniffing a fire hydrant. So simple, super Rush to do that. All right, then we have more Rush. We have 3 more Rush albums here. We have Hold Your Fire, which I've changed my opinion on this album over the years. It's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. There's a lot of stuff to be desired here. They really changed their sound here. They went for more of a synthy, almost, I don't want to say poppy, but they're more pop songs than rock songs. Of course, I think the big song on here, the one that makes the entire album, if it didn't have this song, it would be a lot weaker, is Time Stands Still. I think that's a phenomenal song. I mean, it's a very emotional song. I didn't know Rush could be this emotional, because in their earlier stuff, it wasn't about emotions. It was about rocking out, writing about these crazy concepts, and just just listening to these 3 guys that talk about like rocket ships or whatever. But this song's about life and how, Neil, I guess, wishes time could stand still. But it's an incredible song, highly emotional. A lot of great songs in here. Force 10's great. Prime Mover's great. Mission's great. There's a lot of songs I don't love on here. Like, I don't know what they were doing with Tai Shan. Tai Shan is weird. Open Secrets is okay. High Water is okay, but it's not what you would expect from Rush, right? It's quite a different album. I think I bought it for Time Stand Still, but it's still good. It's still a good album. It's just not, if you heard this first from Rush, you'd think they were a completely different band. So still a good record though. And then we have Presto by Rush. Love the album cover. It's super weird. This is interesting because this was after Hold Your Fire. They keep changing. They were in some weird phase where they were really trying out all this new stuff, right? They went from rock, they went from that synthy kind of thing, and then they went to alternative rock. Like, this is an alternative rock album, right? Like a 90s alternative rock album for the most part. It still has all the Rushy kind of things, right? Like the lyrics and the instrumentation, but it's kind of dialed back a little bit. It's more about the songs than... it's more about the lyrics and the messages of the songs than the instrumentation and the epicness, the building of it. Great songs in here. I really like this. I really like this album a lot. Show Don't Tell is fantastic. Chain Lightning is great. The Pass is one of their best songs. Like, that song is phenomenal. Very emotional as well. There's a lot of great songs in here. Superconductor. I love Superconductor. It's super weird. And then there's some more forgettable songs that kind of don't have as much gravitas or weight to them. Like on Moving Pictures, for example, every song is unique and has this gravitas behind it, if that makes sense. They're so full and complete, and a lot of these songs kind of ring shallow. but the ones that hit really hit, like The Pass, right? Really good album. I really like it. I'll talk more about it in my Rush album rankings. But no, it's great. It's really good. Then we have an album that I like more. Oh, sorry, I have 2 more Rush albums. My bad. This one I like a lot more than a lot of people like. This is an album that is a very personal album to the lyricist and drummer Neil Peart. He had a very terrible few years with his family, both members of his family getting sick and passing away, his wife and his daughter. And he wrote a book in between. He traveled across the country, or was it North America or the country, I'm not quite sure, of Canada, on a motorcycle. And he wrote Ghost Rider, and that became a song which went onto this album, Vapor Trails. I really like this album. I love this record. It's great. A lot of people think it's really loud and hard, and it rocks, but not in the way that Rush used to rock. It rocks more in a, an early 2000s, I think it was 2003, yeah. An early 2000s kind of loud, guitars dialed up to 11, but the most Rush way I can describe, right? Like, One Little Victory right out of the gate is insane with these drums, and it's very personal. You can tell that these songs, he's drumming with a with passion, but loss and grief, and the lyrics, you can hear it too, and it's a really dark album for Rush. Ceiling Unlimited is amazing. Ghost Rider is phenomenal. The Stars Look Down is great. How It Is, Vapor Trail, Secret Touch, Earthshine, like, all these songs are so awesome. Yeah, very personal and deep album. Really worth a listen, I think, and I feel like it gets underlooked a lot. I really love this album. And it led to one of the best tours and probably the most iconic show of all time, Rush in Rio, which I'll talk about in a video later. Then we have our final Rush album, and I think the final album on this video. So next video will be the last part of the showcase of CDs. But we have Rush's 20th and final studio record, which came out in 2012, Clockwork Angels. I remember the day this came out. My dad got it for me. We were waiting for it. It was one of those albums that we were just waiting. Like, no, the anticipation was absolutely killing me. I remember hearing the singles when they came out. Caravan, BU2B, Headlong Flight. And when this came out, it did not disappoint. I played the crap out of this CD. And it's a little bit damaged. You can tell this case was well loved. It's a little rough around the edges. I don't know if you can see. But great album. It is a concept record. So it's a story about this. It's the most Rush album they could possibly go out on. It's about like a future dystopian world. And it's crazy. And the whole thing is just talking about this guy's life in this world. It's insane. Some amazing songs. I feel like they really brought their all to this final album. Caravan's great, BU2B's great, Clockwork Angels is great. Like, all these songs, it might be nostalgia because it was the first one, but every single one of these songs I'm reading right now is, it's like, yeah, great. And the final song, The Guardian, has one of my favorite guitar solos of all time in it. I saw them on this tour in Montreal with my dad, and it was like one of the most insane nights of my life. But amazing final album for this band. I think they really gave it their all. I really enjoy this album upon re-listen. So yeah, guys, I want to keep going here, but this video is half an hour. So thank you so much, as always, for dropping by my corner of the internet here. I appreciate you. I think next we're gonna do S to Z, and finish up my CD collection here. Or so I think. I always say one more part and then I end up rambling endlessly. But thank you so much if you've made it this far in the video. I really appreciate you sticking around. Let me know down in the comments what you think of some of these records that I was showing today. And I will catch you next time, everyone. Rock on.